Shalom. Kol Elohim La Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Chakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of the great Muslim who were well, and as always, peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Now, before I play this video, I just want to start off with a couple scriptures. This is the first one I want to start with. This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. And it reads, "And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword." Now, question, who was given a great sword that he would live? He shall live, and by the sword shalt thou live. So we know who that's talking about. And, based on this fact, he had the power to become that dominant force in the earth because of this blessing, the power of the sword. This is how he was able to take down all these kingdoms. This is how he was able to enslave the children of Israel and remove them from one place and to bring them into another place. This is how he was able to prevail over the saints of the Most High, that great sword. And now he's in possession of power, and he's in, shed all type of blood. He done waged all kind of wars. He done raped, robbed, and murdered literally everything on the planet Earth. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. All right? The jig is finally up. So now, shameful spewing is upon his glory. And right now, he's doing a lot of projecting. All of a sudden, Vladimir Putin is now the scapegoat. All right? Everything that Esau and the West has done since it's been in power, they're now projecting that upon Putin. In which, no defense to him, because he's just another Edomite devil who the Lord is using in these last days to fulfill prophecy. The Lord is putting hooks back into the jaws of Gog and Magog and bringing them back into that Soviet position. And the Lord's going to use them as instruments to take down the beast. So I want to actually play this video right here because this is a pretty good video. Where this woman right here is pretty much going in on not only the shameful the history, the violent history of the West, but how hypocritical this nation truly is. Because it's like with the amount of cognitive dissonance that's going on with how people are being selectively outraged at what the Russians are doing with Ukraine. But this is what America and the beast has been doing since it's been in power. So basically, this woman is calling America out on its hypocrisy. And as it is written in Job, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment? You're at your final end. All right? The Lord is bringing it to an end. Your time is short. So anyway, let's hear this real quick, and then we definitely gonna hit some more scriptures.
How many countries has America invaded since the Second World War? America has been in 19 wars since World War II. The death toll from modern American wars killed in the name of freedom is over 20 million and counting. They have overthrown 36 governments, attempted to assassinate over 50 foreign leaders, and dropped bombs on people in over 30 countries. Syria was the latest of 14 countries in the Islamic world that US forces have invaded, occupied, or bombed. But you believe your American media when they say Putin is a crazy warmongering dictator. Is your self-righteous indignation based on an understanding of basic history, or just triggered by the next new bandwagon that is trending on mainstream media? 90% of these deaths are ordinary men, women, and children. They started the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War. In the last 60 years or so, the list of countries the US invaded includes Bosnia, Cambodia, the Congo, Cuba, El Salvador, Guatemala, Indonesia. There's been wars in Iraq, wars in Afghanistan, wars in Syria, Central America. They are the global bullies, destroying any country in the name of democracy and human rights. But the intention has always been to strip the nation of its resources and enrich their military-industrial complex. Now, what about Britain? Did you know that there are only 22 countries in the world that the UK have not invaded or helped in starting a war? The hypocrisy of the West is an abomination. Where was the sanctimonious outrage when Israeli armed forces bombed and shot Palestinian children armed with nothing but stones? Where was the sense of injustice when George Bush and Tony Blair invaded Iraq? Even after the UN weapons inspector Hans Blix visited Iraq and confirmed that there were no weapons of mass destruction. What a coincidence that Mr. Blix was found dead from suicide. Do any of you actually know Ukraine is not even a sovereign country? The state of Ukraine does not exist. If people just stopped and educated themselves before flinging themselves into a frenzy of indignant theatrics all over social media, they would discover that in 2014, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon stated that since December 1991, Ukraine has not registered its borders as an independent country. Ukraine is still under the territory of Russia, and everything that happens in this area is in fact an internal matter of Russia. And as far as Putin is concerned, there is no invasion. But now suddenly you're all Ukrainian. You all stand with George Soros, Hillary Clinton, and Marina Abramovich. Everyone is so used to instant news, like instant coffee and instant noodles or instant text messages, you don't have the patience to step back, to query the historical context of present-day events, to educate yourself on an intricate and complicated ancient conflict. So my question is, when everyone starts shouting on the rooftops that today they stand with Ukraine, do they realize that they're actually standing with Russia?
We get some scriptures to respond to that one. Habakkuk 2 and verse 16. Thou art filled with shameful glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And that's all you've been getting, man. All right. That's just the sentiment in the earth. All right, calling you out on your hypocrisy. All right, your violent history. All right, it's time for that triumphant to be brought down. All right, and let's go to Isaiah 14 real quick, because the Lord's gonna bring down your power structure. He's gonna put you down in the dust. All right, Isaiah 47, sit down in the dust. All right, there is no throne. This is getting ready to happen, man. Isaiah 14 and verse 4, and it says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. Let me get that in the NLT real quick. And then we're going to actually jump down in the chapter. Verse 4 says, you will taunt the king of Babylon. You will say, the mighty man has been destroyed. Yes, your insolence is ended. For the Lord has crushed your wicked power and broken your evil rule. And how's the Lord going to do that? When ultimately The Lord's going to have these nations rise up against you, right? And Russia is leading that charge. All right, all the nations, carrying buckler and shields, all right, that got the bow, they got the weapons, that's preparing for war, who the Lord's been, putting the spirit upon to build up their nuclear arsenal. They're going to come against you, all right? And that's how your evil rule is going to be broken. It's going to be destroyed. And then we can't forget the King of Kings. He's going to show up, and he's gonna put the final end to your dominion, because the dominion is going to be shifted. Where Esau is not going to rule anymore on earth, and no other heathen nation is going to be able to rule on earth. That rule is going to be given to Yahushai and the children of Israel. The kingdom is going to be translated from one people to another. All right, and that's when the earth is going to be finally able to rest. But first, they're going to have to be subdued, because they're going to lose that war with our Lord and Michael and the angels. So it says, verse 6 says, "You struck the people with endless blows of rage, and held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny." You know, the whole world has been under your unrelenting tyranny, man. Everything is becoming more and more totalitarian. All right, you're gaining more and more authority over the people, and that's why there's resistance. That's why there's uproars. Commotions. It's going to lead to more and more sedition. All right, let me jump down real quick. Actually, let me actually read down, and then we're gonna get to the point. So I'll just continue to read down. It says, "But finally the earth is at rest and quiet. Now it can sing again." The whole earth is going to be rejuvenated. Everything's going to rejoice when the righteous are on authority, because we've been suffering. It's been, like it says in the 24th chapter, the earth mourneth and fadeth and languisheth, taking too much abuse. Esau waging all type of wars on it, causing things to die out. Things are endangered, abstracting it of all his resources. It says, "Even the trees of the forest, the cypress trees and the cedars of Lebanon, sing out this joyous song. Since you have been cut down, no one will come now to cut us down." No more deforestation. The ecosystem will finally be back in its rightful place, man, its rightful order. It says, "In the place of the dead, there is excitement." It's talking about the leaders of these other nations who haven't been in a prominent, dominant position on earth. Like going back to the previous beast before the fourth beast. All their dominions were taken. They ruled for a minute, and then their dominion was taken, and they haven't, been in that position, that dominant position of power ever since. Now they do have their place in Esau's world over us, where it seems like they're doing good for themselves, but they have not been on top. Esau has been on top. So right now, in comparison to Esau, they will be considered a dead former dominion, or empire. So when they see this devil come down, they're going to be excited to finally see this devil where he needs to be, which is down in the dust. It says, "The spirits of world leaders and mighty kings long dead stand up to see you. With one voice, they all cry out, 'Now you are weak as we are. Has thou become weak as we?'" Yeah, you're losing your your hegemon. Your hegemon is losing power by the day. That's why these nations are starting to challenge you. You got Saudi Arabia basically saying, "We're gonna open up the trade in oil for the UN, and that can kindle a real war because that's seen as an act of war, and that's going to weaken the petrodollar. So that's going to weaken their dominancy overall, and these nations are paying attention. It says your might and power were buried with you. The sound of the harp in your palace has ceased. Now maggots are your sheet and worms your blanket. Meaning them worms do spread and cover you. So now you're suffering corrosion, all right, economically and even down to your infrastructure. It's all beginning to crumble. It says, how you are fallen from heaven, O shining star, Lucifer, son of the morning. You have been thrown down to the earth, you who destroyed the nations of the world through all these different wars. All right, and she was going in, she was bringing out all that information, and we've been saying it. It says, for you said to yourself, I will ascend to heaven and set my throne above God's stars. I will preside on the mountains of the gods far away in the north. I will climb to the highest heavens and be like the Most High. And that's you trying to, that's you magnifying yourself, trying to put yourself in the Most High seat. Instead, you will be brought down to the place of the dead, down to its lowest depths. You're going to be brought low. You're not going to have any place in the world. Okay? You're going to become nothing. Nobody's in the earth. It says, everyone there will stare at you and ask, can this be the one who shook the earth and made the kingdoms of the world to tremble? In this, the one who destroyed the world and made it into a wasteland? Is this the king who demolished the world's greatest cities and had no mercy on his prisoners? This is what they're saying in the aftermath, after you being brought down, after your power structure is destroyed, after Babylon is totally wiped out. This is how the nations are going to look down upon you and be amazed how you went from being in a position of power of ruling the whole entire earth and dominating it for centuries to now being confined to pits with chains around your neck and shackles on your feet. All right, bruised, scabs hanging. So that's what it's gonna be. But before all that, you got to get exposed. Shameful spewing. It all got to come out on you. All right. This is Isaiah 47 and verse 1. And it says, come down to sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind mill. Uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So all this wickedness that you've done, the Lord's going to take the vengeance, all right, because his determination is within him. That the day of vengeance burns in his heart. He can't wait to get you back. It says, reward unto her double, do unto her as she have done unto thee. So we already know the Lord is definitely gonna come back and he gonna put in that work. All right. So I just want to do a response to this. Um, you know, any other brother, matter of fact, I'll leave a link to this in the description box if any other brother wanna, do a response to it. But she definitely went in, man. All right, and I mean, and just gonna keep coming out until the Lord finally, fulfilled His word. All right, you're gonna constantly keep getting into these different wars all over the world, and the world's gonna continue to see that you're the problem on the earth. You're the problem with the world. You're the reason why there will not be any world peace. All right, Habakkuk the second chapter. So anyway, call Lord Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elder apostles who well, peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.